So today we're talking about forgiveness with Heather Fillmore, and we're so happy to have you here again. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great.
Good. Wonderful. Well, let's talk about forgiveness, all about the topic. I know you have lots to share with me. I know you do, so I'm going to let you just take it away.
Oh, forgiveness. Such a touchy topic. Forgiveness is very difficult for a lot of people. People would rather sleep on a bed of coals than forgive because it's almost like a protector of the wound. Okay, so I think I'm just going to start off by saying that um, we are here to we're on a healing journey, and healing and spirituality are one and the same thing. And when people talk about Jesus of Nazareth, he was an archetype, and Christ is a consciousness. So Jesus came here to teach us how to be whole, how to balance our masculine and feminine energies. The masculine being the intellect, and the feminine being our intuition, which is our feeling. And so when we think about healing and we think about forgiveness, because forgiveness is the highest form of spiritual alchemy. So when we think about this, we really have everything always starts at home in our inner journey, in our inner world. So when I think of forgiveness, for me, the best place to start, and from my experience, has been with the inner child. You have to go in and apologize to the inner child, because most of us have abandoned ourselves and we've abandoned the inner child, and we need to forgive. We need to forgive, ask for forgiveness from our inner child, and start showing up.
So basically, you have to forgive yourself first before you can forgive anybody else.
Absolutely. And the thing of it is, it's almost like magic. When you start doing the inner work, forgiving people for on the outside, it becomes so much easier. It becomes so much easier. And the inner child really is visceral. So the inner child needs to be felt and witnessed and validated. So anytime you're triggered in the outside world, and listen, it's a triggering fest out there. Somebody will say something, will be triggered. And instead of reacting, what we have to learn to do is step back for a minute, take a minute and say, okay,
Literally, like
pardon?
literally take a step back and stand in that for a moment, and that can trigger the mechanism of forgiveness.
Yes, it can trigger the inner child. It can trigger the inner child, because really we know it's the inner child when we want to just fight and go, even road rage, anything. Someone says something to us, they don't invite us to a party, or we feel rejected, neglected. All our hurt, our wounds are being triggered. So what we need to do is just step back. We know it's the inner child when we react like this, because the adult, if our inner child and our adult self were integrated, we'd look at it and go, huh, okay, well, I guess I wasn't meant to go there. And then you go on to the next best thing.
Mhm.
Right? But so what we need to do, because the inner child, we have to learn on this spiritual journey, is the gatekeeper to vast reserves of untapped wisdom. If we want to evolve on this journey, we need to make a connection with our inner child. It's the portal. The inner child is a portal, and in essence, an archetype itself.
So what if you don't even remember? What if you don't even remember your inner child? What if you're looking back and that part of your life is so far removed from the day-to-day reality? How do you do that?
That's a good question. So what we have to do, again, when we're triggered or when we're hurt, we have to step back, and we actually have to take a minute and be present and say, okay, where am I feeling this right now? What's happening? What's happening? And because we're so intuitive, you will feel something. Something will happen in some part of your body. Maybe your stomach will go in knots, or your heart, and you hold it. This is how you connect. You hold it. hold wherever it's hurting or wherever it's feeling, saying, it's okay. I got you. I got you. I am not leaving. I'm not leaving you. Everything is okay. And the more we connect with that inner child, the more peace we will find. Like I said, healing and spirituality are one and the same. And you will find here, and here's the thing, when you connect with that inner child and you forgive yourself, you make connection with the inner child, and then you go up through the chakras, and then you look at your first chakra, which is all about, your tribe, your family, community, and you look, and then you make this, a daily thing. Because most times we're daily triggered as something is off, we can look and say, okay, in the first chakra, is there any unfinished business there? Do I need to forgive anybody there? My mom, my dad, sisters, the milkman, well, whoever. We just have to kind of look and say, okay, and then we will feel it. Then we will feel it. And then we come up to the second chakra, which are one-on-one relationships. Do I have any unfinished business with my ex, with a friend, with a teacher, with an employer? And then we come up to the third, which is our connection with self. Where haven't I forgiven myself? And so it's all about self. This is all about self.
So forgiveness isn't about necessarily forgiving other people. It's about forgiving yourself for the
Yes,
situation at hand.
yes, it's about connection with self. But we do it at our own time, at our own pace. So, like I said, each time we step back, even if you're triggered by your boyfriend or husband or lover, and he leaves for the day, and you guys such a good opportunity to step back and say, okay, why did I just react like that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel so rejected right now. I don't feel heard. And that's when you connect with the inner child. Because how are you going to know if it's you or if it's them?
Right, exactly.
Right? Because let's face it, it's so confusing. But once we learn this practice of connecting with our inner child and breaking down and crying and letting the inner child be angry for being abandoned, anger is okay. It's not the forbidden fruit. Like really, like people just think, oh, I'm not an angry person. Well, get angry. Like angry is an energy that we need to experience. And the more we suppress it, it will turn into rage. It will turn into reacting, a reaction that's not appropriate. So it's about feeling. Like I said, the inner child is the emotional body. It's stored in the consciousness and the unconscious.
It's almost like
Subconscious and unconscious.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those are two topics that could carry a show all by themselves. Each one.
That's true. Like I said, I'm not saying it's easy, but what I'm saying is it's so much better to take a minute and stop, because you know how when someone says something to us and we say something like, oh God, I feel bad I said that, but then your mind gets involved, the intellect, and says, well, they deserved it, but why do I feel so bad? Like, why do
Yeah.
I feel so bad that I said that if they deserved it? So it's always the heart, like I said, balancing masculine.
Usually because the people took it personally. And most of the time, when people are reacting out of a negativity, I would say 99.9% of the time, it had nothing to do with you. You just got in the way of it. So
Yes.
don't take anything personal.
Yes, that's right. And like I said, it's like they're teachers.
Yeah.
Everybody's a teacher. We're students. We're in earth school, This is what earth school is all about, learning and getting to that next level of consciousness. And what a beautiful thing it would be to walk in the world differently and not be triggered so much, so that you could actually give more of yourself, more love, and actually open up more space for all the beautiful things you want to do and the joy you experience, like finding your creative gifts.
Because you can't really always tell that you're holding on to not forgiving, or you can't tell that there's something inside of you that you haven't forgave yet, and then all of a sudden it manifests in a different way when you're out in the world. So it is something to work on. I can see why there's a resistance to it.
Yeah, well, there is a resistance, but you're gonna You know, you will pay a price over time because, like I said, it's a choice. As we talked about before, this is all about a choice, and we need to choose wisely because our choices are either going to drain our biology or enhance our biology. So people who don't forgive and hang on to this bitterness, will eventually, it will show up physically in some form or another.
So can you mask it and say, I thought I forgave this person, but you somehow mask it in something that maybe is a lie in a sense, right? All of a sudden it reoccurs later on. Is there a way to do that too?
Oh
A
my goodness. It happens all the time. It happens all the time because you'll say something to somebody, maybe a friend or a lover, and they'll say, I didn't like what you just said, blah, blah, blah. And you'll say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. But listen to what you're saying. Listen to yourself, because that's the inner child being so scared to be abandoned that they will forgive immediately, like not honestly, it'll be
they'll concede. That's what
yes.
they do. They'll concede to the situation and say, oh, and back it up. Sure.
That's right, because that fear of abandonment is real. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God, don't
goodness.
lose. But what they said could be true. You know, if they spoke to if they had a conversation and the other person was triggered, or well, immediately they would take it on as, oh, okay, that was my fault, because if they get mad, they're going to leave me. Right. So it's an opportunity to step back and go, okay, don't apologize. Never apologize that quickly, because usually you have to process.
Right.
Yeah, there is a processing period to say, okay, why did I react like that? Why did he react like that? And just pause and go into the inner child.
And then when you apologize, make sure you're doing it for real, and then you don't do it again. You know?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I mean, so many people apologize and it's not real. It's so superficial because of the abandonment wound.
Oh,
So a real apology is a change of behavior, you know?
exactly. So I
Yes.
think it's very interesting when we look at the dynamics of this, and I can see why people resist it, but I can also see why really understanding the practice will bring such peace to your day to day, just how your body reacts to it. I think that's the most amazing part of understanding this conversation.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then
that's what.
you don't lead your past into your future. If you can forgive something, you're not bringing it up later when you mask things, and then all of a sudden, it reappears and it's got this ugly head, and you're like, whoa, you're sort of hoodwinked by it. You go, where did this come from? Because you didn't do the work before, and it's been put into your future. So I think it's an important thing to really concentrate on and get good at.
Yes, it definitely is. Yes, healing that abandonment wound is first and foremost, and it starts with you and your connection with the inner child. Definitely, and real forgiveness is about feeling your emotions. Feel if someone hurt you, someone betrayed you, it's a triggering to the inner child. So first you start there. You get mad, um, whatever that looks like. However, people want to expel their anger. Don't hurt anybody, but
Hurt anybody, but I can see people
swear or
getting
just
their feet.
yes, just stomp your feet, just pound a drum, whatever you need to do, and work through the emotions. And then, that's forgiveness. And it doesn't mean, whoever betrayed you that you have to be friends, but the thing of it is you take back your power and then
Sure.
you call the shots. Yeah, it's all about taking back your power.
Sure, absolutely. Doesn't hold rent in your head.
No, that's right. That's right.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
isn't it? And it does start from home. And it's so funny when you talk about abandonment. And I watched this little baby cry because his sisters have to get onto the bus and go away. So even a baby who is just little and doesn't understand what's happening feels it, because once his sisters get on the bus, he's upset that they're leaving. So
Yes.
that childhood abandonment is very, very real and
Yes.
starts from
Definitely.
birth, obviously.
Definitely. And definitely. And that's and it is emotional. It's very, It's the emotional body. And which a lot of people don't want to go there. So that's when you say, why do people forgive? People don't forgive because they don't want to explore their emotions. They don't want to feel. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel safe. But the thing of it is, you are your inner child's guardian.
Sure.
You are the guardian. So,
And you're also
they
the common denominator. So whatever's coming into your existence is created by you. Always
absolutely.
know that. If it's in front of you, it's because you're the common denominator.
That's right. You create your reality. How many times have we heard this?
Absolutely. And that's why I always say anything you want from the universe, know what you want, but declare it. That's the only way the universe can respond.
Mm-hmm.
It can't respond any other way. It has to be a declaration, or the universe has no idea what it is. Can't waver, no wavering. This is an amazing conversation. I like to talk a little bit now. We're in the flow a little bit, but the resistance I even had doing this video. This is take 3, guys, and it was so funny because I couldn't feel. It was like there was something I was resisting in even doing the video, and obviously it has something to do with wherever I need to work on my personal level, and I do recognize that even doing this video. And I do this for a living, and maybe I send out to the people, hey, you should be forgiving, and maybe I'm more masking the forgiveness, thinking I have done that, but maybe I've done all of the work. Maybe I've only done part of the work.
Yeah.
Certain
Yeah.
circumstances.
It's true because we convince ourselves, like I said, we convince ourselves that with the intellect that, okay, okay, no, I forgive them. Everything's fine because we really don't want to feel. We don't want to go too deep into it. We got stuff to do, I've got to do this and this and this and
This all day long.
yes, I don't have time for this. Okay, it's over. I forgive you. Let's get on with it.
We do our podcast next week. We're talking about honesty, and we're talking about being an authentic person, and what does that mean, and what does that entail, and sometimes that rubs people the wrong way too. So it'll be a whole other conversation.
That's right. That's right. It
Great
will.
conversation. Can we get a
Honesty
little
and
tidbit of
forgiveness.
honesty?
Pardon?
Can we get a little tidbit for our next podcast next week?
Yeah, yeah. So we'll be talking about honesty next week, and it'll be very interesting. And maybe I'll challenge you on honesty, and maybe we'll do a little experiment for a week. Take a vow of honesty. Can you imagine?
Okay, that
Can
I
you
could
imagine?
do,
It
but I
is.
feel safe doing that with you, Heather.
Ah, thanks, Tina. Yeah, me too. This has been great. And like I said, like forgiveness, honesty, it all starts at home. I mean, it's our house. When our house is in order, yeah, our work is done. Our work is done when our house is in order.
Take a
So,
deep breath.
pardon?
Take a deep breath.
Yes.
That's what it'll be.
Yes.
Well, Heather, how can people get a hold of you? Of course, we'll go there, and I'll put a link in the bottom of the video description.
Yeah. So people can reach me at www.awakeningthetruth.ca.
That's wonderful.
Well, we could do a little light language prayer around healing.
That would be wonderful. Why don't we do that?
Okay, so here we go.
Oh,
So what I
wait,
want
I'm
you
going to
to
turn
do,
off my camera so I can close my eyes and really just, get into it.
okay.
There we go. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, feel your diaphragm. Calm, calm, calm. Feel your hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus and feel. Go inward to feel that inner child. Aletariano komashina. Aletariano Awansha tariano kwa mama kalati. Aletore tuma. Ayakashoto halatariano kwa mama nina. Oshawa mama kai. Alatariano kui. Amama shatarino kwa mama. Alati. Alatariana kama. Agawa mama. Ashita. 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 I will never leave you or forsake you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Thank you.
That was lovely. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Feel it. Wonderful. Until next week, then. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for sitting
Yeah.
with me again, and thank everybody for watching.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Okay, see you.